Okay, 8.3, P8.3 resultant forces. We need to use the information that we've learned about vectors and forces, and we're going to apply that information now to calculate resultant forces, which are the overall force applied to an object. So this ball here is not moving. It's got a force of 10 newtons pulling to the left, 10 newtons to the right. Because these are equal and opposite, the overall resultant force is 0 newtons. And we don't put a direction in because it's not moving anywhere. The box here has 15 newtons pulling left, but a force of 10 and 6 pulling right. So we add these two together because the arrows are in the same direction. So 16 newtons to the right, 15 newtons to the left, gives us an overall force, a resultant force of 1 newton to the right. So we put the size of the force and the direction of the force in there. So this box will start to move to the right. If we've got moving objects here, say they're moving at 30 miles an hour, air resistance is pulling to the left, so it's slowing it down. Thrust is causing it to speed up in that direction. Because they're equal and opposite, they cancel out, so the overall resultant force is 0 newtons, and it continues to move at a constant speed of 30 miles an hour. If we have a car travelling initially at 30 miles an hour, and then we apply these two forces to it, 100 newtons to the left, slowing it down, 150 newtons of thrust forward. The overall resultant force is 50 newtons here. Direction is forward, and it will cause the car to accelerate. So if the forces are balanced, then the object, if it's stationary, remains stationary. If it's moving, it travels at a constant speed. If the forces are unbalanced, so we have a resultant force, like here, then it will cause the object to accelerate in the direction of that force. So this box will accelerate that direction, and the car will accelerate in that direction. Okay, slightly more complicated example here. We're going to have to use a bit of math. So if you know your Pythagoras theorem, that will help you with these sorts of questions. If we have an object, and usually it's a plane or something that's flying, something in the air, there are 4 forces now acting on it. Here we can see to the right 3 newtons, to the left 1 newton. So the resultant force on the horizontal here is 1 newton to the right. Okay. Vertically we have 4 newtons up, 2 newtons down. So the resultant force there is 2 newtons up. If we want to find the resultant force, it's going to be this diagonal between those two. So if you draw out the rectangle and draw a line from corner to corner, that gives you the resultant force. That gives you the direction. If you want to work out the size of that force, you need to use Pythagoras. So this tangent here we call A, B and C. A squared equals B squared plus C squared. So A squared will equal 2 squared, which is this one, plus C squared, which is 2 squared and 1 squared. So that's 4 plus 1. So A will be the square root of 5, which is 2.24 newtons. So we have size and we have a direction.